Okay, welcome to Experience This Season 4, Episode 3. Season 3, Episode 4. What are we, Laurie?
Season 4, Episode 3.
Season 4, Episode 3, right, the first time. So this is going to be an exciting one. I think lots of AI discussion today. We have Oliver Green joining us, and I know we're going to be talking about vibe coding and Claude and Codex, who knows, whatever else. But let's get a quick introduction from Laurie and Bruce, and then we'll go on to Oliver.
Bruce, you go first this time.
Hey, everyone. Bruce Rosard here, one of the co-founders of Arrival. And I've been hanging out with Ollie for a couple of years now, following him on LinkedIn. And I think we might have someone who can give you a run for your money with AI for the experiences industry, Christian. We'll see.
Come on.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Laurie Timoney, and I am with Insightful International. It's a consulting group. And I'm excited to be here with Ollie today. I had the pleasure of meeting Ollie and getting to know him a little bit at the Arrival AI Summit, which was awesome. And I'm really looking forward to today's session. So can't wait.
Thank you very much.
Before we hear from Ollie,
it's great.
Bruce, can you give us a quick summary of your ski trip? You did an industry ski trip last week.
Well, it wasn't mine. And, I was in the ski industry for over 20 years. So it was run by Brennan Bliss, who knows a lot of people. He's the founder, CEO, head dishwasher at Propelic. And he's awesome. Love Brennan, one of my best friends in the industry. But I don't know if I'm going to let him coordinate the ski trip next year. But it was phenomenal. It was like only 10 people, but it was 10 great people, just people in themselves, but also pretty powerful in the travel industry, in our industry. And we weren't there to do business. And that's what I loved about it. It was not a business event, but every chairlift ride, there was a little bit of business being talked about. And 12 o'clock at night, there was little business being talked about. And, I got to know people that I couldn't get to know at a conference or otherwise, especially at a Arrival conference. I don't really get to know anybody because I'm just running around too much, right? So it was great. Big Sky, Montana, phenomenal place. For anyone that does love to ski, you got to go there. But there was no fresh snow. That's okay. They had tons of coverage, and it was great.
There's plenty of snow in Boston right now.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. Oh, you should ski New England. And my answer is no.
There's got to be like 4 feet out just right outside of my window.
I don't care. It's still New England skiing. It's not Colorado or Montana so anyway. And we had bluebird sunny days, 40 degrees, which is like maybe 10 Celsius, sun out all day long. We have some great video from the bar scene with Christian Walters from Intrepid and Brennan up on the stage dancing like crazy guys that they are. That was definitely a big part of it. It was awesome.
Good. I was texting Brennan saying maybe skiing is perfect for vibe coding because you get to code on the way up on the chairlift, and then as you're going down, it builds it, and then by the time you get back on, it's probably ready to deploy and do an iteration. But on that note, let's introduce. Sorry for cutting you off a minute ago, Oliver. Can you give us a quick intro?
Yeah, I guess just before we get started on my intro, you mentioned the snow. Well, here in London, I think we've broken some sort of record because it's now rained every day this year, which I guess also every day, consistently.
Why are you there? You're a digital nomad. You just came from what, Costa Rica? Why are you there still?
I shouldn't be. I'm going to have to change as soon as possible. But yeah, that's it. We've broken unsurprising world record there.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm Oliver. I'm currently a consultant, or I'm trying to be a consultant in the AI space. I've done a lot of work with Arrival before, and I'm really excited about what's happening at the moment. I think it's an amazing time to be a founder, especially in the tourism industry when there's so many event-driven things that can lead to automations, etc. So yeah, that's me, and that's what I do. I was at Carpe Diem before, which is a tourism company in 7 destinations in Europe, and I was their CMO.
Can I just start one thing quick, Christian, before you go into all the AI stuff and vibe coding and all that? Because your expertise kind of before AI was social. right? And you really did a lot of social, a lot with vertical video, and that's how you built Carpe Diem as the CMO into a 7-destination food tour company. And now, we talked about this a while ago. You're like, I'm ready to leave Carpe Diem and build my own following and presence, and you've done that. There's a lot of people now, because of your great posts, that follow you regularly. But who are you, right? And I was thinking about this, so I just wanted to play with you for a minute. It's Oliver Green, but now you're actually Ollie Green, and your company, your URL is olivergreen.io, right? You could be greenmarketing.travel. It's available. Cost you $1 to register that. You could be greenmktg.travel, or either one of those .tours. So I just think, as your consultant, you should register a domain that looks like a company instead of a one-man band, even though maybe you're going to tell us today, based on your last LinkedIn post, how you're going to create it for a company all by yourself using vibe coding that we're going to talk about.
Oh, I totally disagree with you, Bruce. I think it's really actually the new thing to call your company your name. I actually wish that I could reverse my decision I made a while back. But yeah, I like it. I think it's, and plus he's got a very cool name.
Thank you.
That is a cool name. So,
you know what though? I was thinking to myself, I'm going to need to bring on, mate, like if I grow, I'm going to need to bring on staff. And are they going to want to say they work for Ollie Green at Ollie Green? So that's going to be pretty confusing. So I'm glad you touched on this, because I've spent the past literally 10 days trying to find the name, and I've come to the conclusion that there's nothing harder in business than trying to choose a name for your company. There's nothing harder. And ChatGPT doesn't help, because it gives you like hundreds of names that are all registered with domains. So that doesn't help at all. So on this one, you really are left to your own devices.
Greenmarketing.travel is available. You can have it for $1. I can tell you that.
I mean, look, because it's $1, I'm going to get it after this podcast for sure.
I'm gonna try and drag this back on track.
All right, get it back on track. Let's talk AI.
Way off piste right now. This is in the middle of the woods.
Oh, we're off piste.
Going
couldn't
uphill.
do that at Big Sky because the snow was just shit. But that's all right.
This is like the Norwegian guy, like going uphill like 15 miles an hour or something.
Oh my God! Did you see that?
Yeah. Anyway, before we get into vibe coding, because that's going to take over, and we have turned the corner in the last month. This AI stuff's out of control right now. But I want to talk about TripAdvisor, because they just had their earnings call today. Just some quick highlights. Well, revenue, right? Revenue is their commission piece, not their total sales. It was $924 million last year in 25, which puts them, I think 20%-ish behind Get Your Guide now. So that's all of TripAdvisor, including Viator.
I see 1.9 billion.
20%.
last
Yeah.
year.
1.1 billion is Get Your Guide.
It's Get Your Guide. Euros.
Oh,
So
yeah,
actually
right.
they're 25, maybe 30% behind. Anyway, they're a long way behind Get Your Guide. This is TripAdvisor, including Viator. So those two have switched positions in the last year. TripAdvisor is still growing though. I think they grew like 10% or something. Their stock price, let's do a quick stock. Their market cap right now is at 1.24 billion. That's the lowest ever. So that's has been the biggest company in our sector, right? And they seem to be
from a marketplace perspective. Yeah.
I think they saved a little money in the last quarter, though, with the layoffs they did. They did some restructuring and they laid off a bunch of people in the last quarter, which, as I understand it, kind of helped that number along a little bit.
Yeah, they combined the teams, right, into one.
They cut 450 jobs. I'm guessing that they're not going to see the savings until 2026 for that, right? I mean, they would be paying out plans for that, but either way, it'll help them. Yeah.
So that's it. I got you guys number one. I guess Klook is number three. Klook announced their IPO in the fall. They postponed it to this year. Not seen anything new from them on that. So I guess that's coming out at some point. But And then, yeah, the other thing is that there's the tickets thing. So that's kind of the big picture, some of the movements on that. But yeah, interesting to see things shaking out there.
Yeah, it's interesting that, if you look at the amount of the number of experiences on their platforms, I think Get Your Guide has somewhere around 140,000 now, and Viator has about twice that number of experiences on their platform. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we should probably do another show on this one, because I think that it's interesting to think about where they're going and where they need to be in order to keep themselves relevant and not see their business shrink, because that's the question. Like, as as AI continues to expand, and Google continues to change things, and it could very well start shrinking the business's growth for sure. So anyway, but we're on to vibe coding, which is to me more interesting at the moment.
But just to wrap that, because I think you're right, Lori. We could do a show. We could see who we can get. Obviously, none of the public companies, but a top 5, and not just look at top line revenue, because then you have a company like Head Out that says they've been profitable for 3 or 4 years or whatever. Their revenue is going to be lower, but they're still a top 5 probably, and they're profitable. And then what about a TUI? Where do they fit? I mean, they're huge. If you look at the whole company, there's amusement as part of that. So I think that could be a really interesting show. Maybe even bring back an analyst like we had your friend from Cleveland Research a few shows ago, and someone who can look at the numbers, although it's hard because they only look at public. So we'd have to figure out how to look at public and private and come up with our top 10 marketplaces in the industry, and not just talk revenue. It's got to be revenue and EBITDA, right?
And then we can talk about Airbnb experiences as part of that, which is all.
Yeah, that would be, how would you carve that one out? They're trying. They're still
we
trying.
need another show.
Airbnb needs to do? They need to do a relaunch of Experience.
Oh, relaunch. Yeah.
That's what their plan should be.
Because they haven't done one in a quarter.
Yeah.
Hopefully they contacted us about joining us. Well, they will be in Valencia. Doug Weiss, their head of experiences, is going to be speaking in Valencia at Arrival, and the head of their APAC division just got in touch with us about joining us in Brisbane. So they want to be out there. That's for sure.
Good.
All right, let me do a quick setup for this sort of vibe coding. So I feel like, and it's hard because we all have different feeds, we live in different algorithms. But my head last year was very much in the search and discovery and Google and AI mode and agentic commerce and all of that stuff. This year, my head's been on the other side of it in practical AI. Vibe coding, for those that don't know, is where you use one of these many tools and you speak to the agent or the platform, whatever you want to call it. They're all kind of agentic. And you tell it what to build. You say, hey, build me a review platform or build me an OTA. I mean, you can say these things and it will. Obviously, having more of a plan is better, but you can build stuff without touching any code. You can build it, you can deploy it, you can do crazy stuff. And in my head and what I see on Twitter is this is really turned a corner in the last probably 2 months. First of all, with Claude Code, which started really last fall and late fall, and then some new models on Claude. And then there's some other similar there's Lovable, which Oliver I think is going to talk about, and Codex, and lots of different models. It doesn't matter which is which, but they've really advanced in the last month or 2. Quick last thing, and then we'll jump to Oliver. There's a concept called self-recursive, right? Where these models now write themselves. Claude Code was written by Claude. Claude Cowork is the next version of that, which is meant to kind of sit on your desktop and just work with ordinary files. It's incredible what that does. You can just give it a couple 100 files and have it organize them and sort them and update them and change them and create new ones. It's crazy. But the point is, if it's now writing itself, this thing accelerates. And the smarter it gets, and it's starting to write its own software, and we sort of lose control in a good way and in a bad way. So it's going to accelerate from here. Anyway, on that note, I know you've been doing a bunch of this, Oliver, so I'd love to hear sort of your overall perspective, kind of a high level, what you think's happening right now, and then let's dive into some examples and what you've been doing and how you're thinking about this.
Yeah, so absolutely. And so I've been experimenting with it for the past few months. I mean, I started originally around, I think around a year and a half ago when Lovable was still pretty early. And now I think it's I can't remember the exact stat, but it's one of the fastest companies to reach a billion valuation, which is just insane. In terms of all the different tools out there, there is a ton, but the easiest barrier to entry to get started into is Lovable, 100%. And the beauty of this vibe coding is you basically develop software in natural language. So you don't have to write any lines of code. You just type and you focus on the outcome. So basically you're prompting to create a product, which is just, there's been nothing like this openly available to any founder or anyone before. And I think we're going to see a huge shift in people, firstly, developing their own solutions to ones that were previously paying for. There's like quite a few famous examples, such as link in bio solutions, which is one of the easiest to get started and one that I can happily demo. But not just replacing things they were paying for before, but creating custom solutions that are tailored specifically for your industry. And I think in this particular industry, tourism, there is so many different examples we can do, from specific landing pages for singular products to know your customer forms, waivers. So yeah, it's a super exciting time to be a founder in this space. And yeah, I've been practicing with it. I've built a ton of tools already. One of the more complicated ones I've built was an intranet for an operator. So they have all their data there. They can access their SOPs, their branding, their logos. They can see where their products are listed, what the prices are. So yeah, there's a ton of things you can do, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and just so people understand it, I don't want to get into technicals too much, but there's things like APIs, right? So maybe a year ago, to write to an API, you go into the docs, you're having to read through how to build it. You go and kind of field by field and mapping stuff and doing all this. We build a bunch of internal stuff at Magpie, and I'm building all kinds of stuff. And I just say to it, grab the products from the Magpie API. If I want to help it along, I'll give it the docs link, but it can also equally just go and find the docs link. That's all I tell it. Go and connect to the API. I have to give it a key. I have to give it a password, right? And as long as it's got that, it goes and finds it. It brings all this stuff back and it structures it. And I didn't have to learn. I didn't have to read the docs. I didn't have to do anything. As long as docs are well written, it goes to grab that. So you could connect with an Expedia API tomorrow. You could connect with a Ventrada API and pull them all together and do all this stuff without having to learn what an API is or how it works or anything.
I have a question on that. You know how, I mean, I know from having done a lot of work with connectivity and partners and so forth in the past, that it's like every API is different. And then there's some really complicated ones. Like it just so happens that GoCity had a little bit more of a complicated API than just somebody that's selling, you know, boat tickets or whatever. So do you think that the same thing applies in that type of an instance where you would be able to, you know, just ask Claude to write to GoCity's API and you're good?
Yeah. You probably wouldn't get it in AI terms. It's called one shot, right? Which means like one prompt and it's done. You wouldn't be able to like one shot it, and it would just error every couple of. It's easy to grab a bunch of stuff like weather from an API because it's just one inbound thing, right? Just grab me the weather for these 20 locations. And you're done. If you build into like GoCity, it's going to say, well, I'm going to give you a date. Can you give me availability? Then I'm going to give you times. Can you give me how many adult tickets you got? All this back and forth, and it's just going to make it's going to try and get through all that, but it's going to error on stuff because it didn't expect what you gave it. But it would just, for each step of that, it would say, well, hang on a second, they gave us a date in this format. We were expecting that format, and you'd work through it and say, yeah, switch the formats It's a bad
One
example.
more question on that before we defer back to Ollie. What about Octo? I mean, you guys have spent years, I don't know how many now, 4 or 5 years, creating Octo as that standard API. Are you saying that, yeah, we don't really necessarily need that anymore?
No, you still need the foundation level, right? There's still, behind all this stuff, there's still data, which is truth. So you still need to have a source of truth for that availability. So I need to be able to go to a date, an adult, a child, a departure time for a product and an option, and I need to know if it's available. So that stuff still needs to sit there, so the data still needs to be structured. It's not like it can get to the end.
So Octo's providing the specs to make sure everyone's data is structured the same way.
Yeah.
More so than the API connectivity, right? It's the data structure, and that's not changing, and that's the role of Octo, whether it's the current API or some vibe coded API that can make it easier.
Yeah, and then, for example, Octo's got a cancellations thing, right? And if you said to the API, just, hey, go and cancel this, and it goes to some res tech and they don't do cancellations, it's going to hit a wall. It's going to say, well, I don't know how to cancel it. There's no documentation. Do you want me to send them an email? So you still need that structure.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Should we defer to Ollie and maybe get a demo of the kind of stuff he's building and talking about?
Yeah, I think just touching back on the APIs with vibe coding specifically, like a lot of the time with vibe coding, people might think it's just building websites or front end apps, but actually you can vibe code automations as well with software such as NAN and Make.com, and if you connect their API into the programs like Claude Code, it's commonly referred to as an MCP as well, which is a wrapped API, model context protocol. Then you give Claude Code the whole context of what NAN and Make.com can do. So you can vibe code incredibly complex automations, which used to take hours, maybe days, in minutes. And not only will they have access to all the thousands of nodes and scenarios that are in these platforms, they'll also have access to the documentation. So if you get stuck, you can prompt and get it fixed real time. So yeah, it's really interesting for that as well. I think that's a really great use case.
I can't wait
demoing.
I can't wait to hear about the use cases. I think that to me is what is going to help me understand, like, what is the opportunity.
Yeah.
So we should have Ollie show us a couple.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen right now.
Okay.
If you could just talk through what we're looking at, so those that are not on visual can.
Whoa! Is that vibe coded?
Here we are.
Did that? Yeah.
And also,
it's vibe coded.
Just to show that if you are listening and you feel like, oh, wow, really wish I could see this, just know that, we will have a YouTube link as well. So you can always come back and watch it.
Okay, so this is a simple review capture for Cookly, and Cookly is an OTA mainly specifically in APAC and LATAM, focusing on cooking classes. And the idea here is that we basically capture the reviews as you would on any other service like you might have used previously, such as Linktree, but we've built it and tailored it specifically for Cookly. Cookly has many destinations, so we've added the options to add multiple, and when you click on it, you also get the option to leave a review, book another class with a discount, share your class on Instagram, and follow. But here's the thing, we've also built in an admin dashboard. So at any time, you can go ahead and add a new destination. So for example, if we want to add Taiwan in, etc., and we can create it, we can add the link, the description, and it'll all be here where you can edit. Just click the settings and you're able to edit. You can change the image, change where each link goes, everything. The good thing we've built as well, because
this go much further, Ollie, sorry to interrupt, but what we're looking at now is the UI that your vibe coding created, but our view and what people that come in and say, wow, I want to go to YouTube and see what he's talking about, doesn't say I built this on AI with vibe coding and it took me a minute. It's just a nice UI that could have been built 5 years ago. Is there a way that we can see the process of how you used the vibe coding to make this 5-hour process 5 minutes?
Absolutely. I mean, I could build one now for you if you like.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Like this looks great. And it's
100%.
a nice UI, but
Let
it
me get that
doesn't
ready.
prove to me that you're using this amazing tech that I can't, that Christian talks about every day.
So can I just also, while we're on this, just have you clarify what exactly it is you built? So you're pulling in reviews for these various cooking classes from different, like Trustpilot, TripAdvisor, that kind of thing, Google reviews. Is that what you're doing? Aggregating reviews and then showing them on their site?
So we're using it to capture reviews. So at the end of the cooking class experience, there'll be a QR code. They'll scan the QR code. And then depending on which destination they're in, the review link will pop up, and then we can direct them to where we want the reviews to go. So for example, to Google or to TripAdvisor or directly onto the website. But we can also use it for other marketing needs, such as cross-selling or upselling or on the spot as well with a discount.
I see. Okay. So so basically you're giving the customer the opportunity to leave a review. You're building that opportunity for them to leave a review, and then you're capturing the review. And when you say you're then deciding where you're going to push it out, how are you doing that? Because wouldn't a review, unless you know like, how do you decide it's going to Trustpilot, it's going to TripAdvisor? I mean, TripAdvisor, it's only if they're buying it on TripAdvisor, right?
Well, you can leave a review on TripAdvisor against the particular product without actually purchasing on TripAdvisor itself. So we just take the link from that particular product and then we copy it into one of the links where they click. So if it says leave a review on TripAdvisor, then it'll take you directly there.
Yeah, that's
so.
Okay.
Let me just share my screen. I've got the prompt ready. So I made a very quick prompt. Very quick, just for the purpose of this. I've build a Linktree style landing page for a tour company called Green Tours. I got inspired by Bruce's suggestion earlier on. And then, yeah, I've just given it what I'd like to, clean, stylish. And just a quick tip, when it comes to prompting, I always take my prompt and I ask ChatGPT or Claude to rewrite it for the program building in. In this case, it's Lovable, because then they'll build it in a clean structure, which will use less credits, because it's the same concept with vibe coding. They don't call it tokens, but it's credits. It's the same. And as you prompt, you go through them. So it's good to be as efficient as possible. So I always get AI to rewrite for that reason beforehand.
Yeah.
And I'll post this prompt. We can post it in so everyone can see it in the video. And there it goes. It takes a few minutes.
So you've just built a landing page, basically, but there's like it doesn't look like a tour. It looks like some kind of merch or retail type page.
Oh no, this is the preview while it's being
okay.
In a minute it'll pop up and show us. And this is a software people pay for this service. If you're not paying for it, there are many free options, but if you're limited, so you're limited to have whichever company's branding. You might not be able to take tips. You might not be able to integrate Stripe for the guides. Doing it this way, you have access to everything. You can add the Stripe tips. You can add unlimited links. You can collect reviews. You can brand it how you want. You can even build it specific for one operator. We have a question before their review, which says, "Did you book the tour?" And if they were the tour booker, it will ask them, "Did you book on Get Your Guide or Viator?" And if they booked on either of those, it will direct them straight to that platform where they can leave a review for that product, which increases the review rate, which then increases its position in the algorithm on the OTA.
And when you said the product that you're doing this on is Lovable, and you're saying that you have a paid version to give you the extra facilities and capabilities that the paid version of Lovable provides. What's the paid version? Like how much?
It's not too bad. It's $25 a month.
$25 a month. Right.
You get 100 credits. This now, let's have a look. You should be able to see how much.
So this is your landing page. that you just spent
Yes.
about 2 minutes building.
Yes, and I had 65 credits before, so I spent 1.3 credits building this. So as you can see, it's pretty. I mean, this is just one initial prompt. You would re-prompt a few times to get where you need to be. But yeah, this is the landing page we've just built. So what I would then do is attach a unique link to this, or I'd use a subdomain website. And then connect it to a QR code. At the end of the tour, the guide can say, scan this QR code. And instead of whichever tool they were using and paying for before, this would pop up. And this would be tailored to that tour company. So instead of this logo, it would have their logo. It would have a picture of whatever they have on their tours. You'd be able to change to how you like, if it's filling up a last minute tour that evening, or if it's pushing one that's not doing so well at the moment. Anything sharing your
and book a tour
Instagram.
now. That would be a direct link into their res tech, and that would be where Christian was talking about. You'd be able to just write code directly into the API of whoever their res tech is for availability and pricing and all that.
Yes, you could connect the booking widget directly from the res tech if you wanted to another page, or you could take it directly to your tour website's landing page. Whichever you prefer. Yeah, and then that would just automatically
the big
go
picture
into
on this is. So the big picture is, what does this do to the software market, right? So I just got a demo from someone who we all know who's just built an app that the tour guide shows a QR code at the end. Customers scan it, they upload a photo, it generates an Instagram post, and it helps the tour company get images for Instagram. It looks great. And I was probably kind of rude. I said, listen, I'm sorry, but I could build this whole thing in an hour, and I'm absolutely can build it in an hour. And that's not to sound fancy. It's just that everyone can build that in an hour now. So what does that do to the software market? There's so many companies that have spent years building this software. And now anybody can come along and just kind of build some. Doesn't mean you can deploy, doesn't mean you can sell it and you've got distribution and everything else and credibility, but anybody can build anything.
I think about all of the
But
all of the operators even that have, been at Arrival and been on the stage showing, what they've built. And I'm just even thinking of a couple right now that I'm not going to name, but I imagine you could probably build that pretty easily now, So yeah, that is a very interesting.
So just on that, I think what you will find is a lot of the softwares that have been built are probably, of course, much they're polished and they're much higher standard. So I think initially what we're going to see is a trade-off on, cost versus what we can actually build, and if it's worth making those sacrifices to have something a little less polished. But on the flip side of that, we're also able to build something now that's completely tailored to our tour business, rather than a generic software that we might be following that has those limitations that every company might use. So it's really it's a bit Wild West. I'm not really sure where it's going to go, but yeah, some softwares I think.
Sorry, go ahead. Ollie. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say some softwares, like big CRMs or project management systems. You could replicate it slightly, but you're never going to be able to polish to something like Monday.com. So there you're going to have to pay your thousands a month, depending on how big your team is. But other softwares like the Linktree that we just showed, or a Waiver, for example, a Waiver is one of the easiest to replicate. It's going to be questionable.
Let's also just to define polish, because anything that's more than a year old is gonna look less good than something you designed today, right?
That's true.
I get what you're saying by polish. You're meaning a bit more sort of
Sophisticated,
or it actually works behind the scenes. But on your first view, anything new is going to look better than Salesforce, HubSpot, any of this stuff.
But nothing's going to work like Salesforce from vibe coding without a lot of heavy lifting. I was just going to say
Salesforce 4. That's the whole thing, right? Like that's the thing about Salesforce is there's a lot of people that have it and pay big bucks and barely use it. And so I guess the question is, what do you really need?
Right. You need a full-time administrator to really use Salesforce to its fullest, right? And Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I sent out a newsletter while we've been on this thing, or someone did, and I put a thing about that. I said for the amount of Salesforce or HubSpot that most of us use, and I've seen a lot of companies Salesforces because we often get that in Magpie. For the amount that 99% are using, you could vibe code in an hour. Most people use it like a spreadsheet, right? It's
You
just
could say the same about Excel, right? Like when was
Yeah.
the last time you wrote a macro on Excel and really used the full
Mhm.
capabilities? Like most people
Yeah.
don't even do
Yeah.
that. I was going to say, I believe, and I think Built With is the source. The majority, you know what? There's more res text built on. You know, everyone thinks, well, Fair Harbor's number one, right? They have 20,000 or however many clients. And then you have the others that we all know. But you know who actually is potentially the biggest? Wix. Right? Wix, Wix, that cheap website builder, who apparently has a way to build a widget for a reservation platform. That's the kind of thing that can get blown away by vibe coding.
Yeah. Are they public? I wonder what their share price has done.
I don't know if they're public. They might be.
We're about to abandon for my tour company. We're about to abandon WordPress next week. For Magpie, we're getting rid of WordPress. We're just going to vibe code it. WordPress just
You're going to vibe code your CMS.
But we've mostly using Magpie kind of is a CMS, but we're mostly for our internal stuff. We just got rid of Active Campaign last week. I canceled Notion, canceled Intercom.
You're finally going to be profitable.
We've been profitable for a while.
All right, so here's the thing. We only have a few more minutes. The challenge to Ollie, again, based on maybe your last post of with all this stuff I'm learning about vibe coding, I've been doing it every day. I think I could start a tour company by myself. I think you even threw out the $1 billion number in there. Can you? You ready to? Should we have you back in a month and see how you're doing? And I don't think you need to be tour guides. And you
probably already did it, Bruce.
He's already done. Yeah. Is it called greenmarketing.travel or .tours? Or
no,
just
it should be Green Tours.
Huh?
What's funny is a couple of people messaged me after that post and they said, I really love this idea. Do you want to do it together?
But then you're not by yourself anymore.
Exactly. So I was a bit shocked.
Was one of them Alex Bainbridge, who basically told you don't need any tour guides or a res tech, and he's going to use autonomous cars and the system he built for Altura?
It wasn't, but you definitely will always need tour guides, in my opinion.
But do they need to be people, or is it the Alex Bainbridge model? Or there's lots of models of the audio guides, right? I mean, there's dozens and dozens of those companies.
It's going to be
the reviews
tour guide and the tour guide, right? That's what it's going to be.
But you can hire. We could go to. We'll do it with Yali. The tour guide company that we had on a few episodes ago, who's building the whole platform, P2P tour guides, key guides, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's humans.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be part of Ollie's company. It's just
a lot of companies
book a tour. It's a link out to key guides, and it's a P2P guide matching.
I want to circle back on some of the stuff that Ollie's done before we close, because
you don't want to have him build a company, a one-man company.
I've just had a great thought. You know what you could do now with audio guides and vibe coding is you could actually take the audio guides one step further and implement them into some sort of visual app as well, which has questionnaires, everything. And you can create like some sort of vibe coded app for each destination. Colosseum, which has everything, a questionnaire, like AR implemented, the audio guide as well. And that's one step further than audio guides. That's a great business that could happen with vibe coding, and someone could spin that up pretty quick with different countries and different monuments.
Yeah.
You can sell franchises to each country.
Yeah.
Or each city. A lot you could do.
You could, and treasure hunts. You could vibe code a treasure hunt app so easily now.
Mm-hmm. So what's Questo doing now?
Maybe they're vibe coding them.
Probably. Yeah. Okay, Lori.
What are the things, Ollie, that people are asking you for like predominantly since you started doing this and they became aware of your availability and all of that? What's the most popular request?
To be honest, when it comes to vibe coding, it's mainly vibe coding automations. So people want to have automations vibe coded, and particularly right now agentic ones. So think it's things. I mean, there's been also a couple of people asked me for chatbots to be created, but mainly it's automations. So like email box management, cross-selling, upselling, marketing automations. It's mainly people chasing the direct revenue rather than operations at the moment, which I think is always pretty much the case.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because that will go to our conversation around distribution when we have another one about, whether or not AI is going to change that landscape, and, our suppliers going to get more direct bookings, not less. And, what you're saying right there is obviously they have tools now that are getting them in front of people maybe more than they ever have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Just to clarify for people, these automation tools have been out there for years, like the Zapiers and stuff, right? And but now that it's the AI. Well, first of all, you can build the full automation with a Claude code or something. You don't have to connect anything. You can just tell it what to connect. And second of all, it's making smart decisions at each step. Whereas before, you have to do it if this is greater than 10, send this. If it's you have to kind of give it set rules, whereas now the AI is making up the decisions on the fly, so it can create the final email. You don't have to put first name here, last name here. It'll just generate the full email. I'm not saying people should be vibe coding outreach via email, but it can.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Just back to the very beginning when we started. So when I met you, Ollie, you were all into social and vertical video. And then again, that's how you really built Carpe Diem to what it is today. Now you're all into AI. So maybe instead of it being greenmarketing.travel, it could be AI marketing.travel. That's also available for a penny right now.
Have you been researching?
AI marketingtravel.com if you want a .com. That's
Bruce
also
will be your broker.
I'm writing this down.
That's $5. You could get that one.
Who did you go skiing with that's got you into this whole like domain name thing? Did you?
No, it wasn't.
Sell you
Just
some...
thinking about Ollie and the fact that he's building a brand around olivergreen.io, and I think he need, especially if you're looking to hire people and become $1 billion one-man band tour operator, you probably need a name. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to work on it. That one for $9 sounds pretty good. Is it aimarketing.com? aimarketingtravel.com.
AI marketing travel, a little long. Yeah.
The .travel.
And I was thinking it might not be AI forever, right?
I still love social, so.
I just want to say for the res techs that are now screaming at us, well,
they're not still on. We're like 40 minutes in. They're not watching.
The res techs are on rocky ground, right? And I was talking to Oliver Morgan Ventrato about this, I think probably yesterday. I think he's in a good spot because they're deep inside like attractions and scanners, and they get really deep. It takes them a long time to onboard, and it takes them even longer to offboard.
Yeah, you're not vibe coding.
Those kind of things are really safe. But if you're quite a narrow res tech that hasn't built a lot of that stuff, and you haven't got POS, and you're just and you haven't upgraded for many years, I mean, I think I could probably build a pretty decent res tech in a weekend and take
more
it
than res tech, Christian. There's like the ticket tech, like the competitors of Eventbrite kind of companies. Yeah. There's hundreds of those, and really all they do is sell tickets, right? So they are ripe for disruption for sure. Yeah. More than that's the complication of the res techs we know, like the Fair Harbors and Bokens and Peaks and Zolas of the world, have a little bit more going on. That might take you more than a weekend. But to compete with Eventbrite might be a weekend project. Yeah,
and then there's companies which didn't make it. we were just doing some research last night. My AI was, and I don't know if you remember Blueboard, but Blueboard was like a corporate
BAUD Blueboard.
Yeah, they went back. They went bankrupt. They raised a lot of money. They raised like 20 million or something. They went bankrupt in 2004. But I'm just thinking that's the kind of thing that they raised 20 million and obviously spent it all. Whereas now, whatever they build, you're probably building for, a few tens of thousands. Some things that didn't work 2 years ago might work today just because you can.
So Ollie, we only have a few minutes left. So what do you think? Big picture. And I know you've got a lot of different ideas, a lot of things going on of what's next in your world, but specifically here, putting some resources of your time towards vibe coding, where would you spend that? What would you want to build? For
our industry,
yeah.
I think
where you see demand, where you see the ability for disruptive product to come in that you feel like Christian was just saying, I don't need to raise $1 million to do it.
I mean, look, for me, I think it's just the simple little things. The simple little things that help operations day to day. I think one massive opportunity for a lot of tour operators is building dashboards to consolidate their data, to understand what's going on behind the scenes, because it's just a mess. Booking data is one place, cancellation data, etc. It's all over the place. Website data. So if I was to offer a service now, that to be honest, I think would be ideal for our industry is consolidating data into a dashboard.
Yeah, and also
multiple dashboards.
The ability to talk to their data. Like that's one of the things that I've recently become very aware of for various reasons. It's amazing. Like most people go behind the scenes and they try to find stuff. Oh, where is that? I got to go to Tableau. I got to go over here. What do I need to do? Where is it? If you can just go in and go, I'm looking for this, boom, here's an answer. How efficient would that be from a back end solution for businesses, no matter what size they are, really?
And very possible right now. Very, very possible. If you've got a good consolidated source of truth, an agent, an automation, a front end built on Lovable to speak to the data, it's very possible.
I also think you might not even need to build that, right? That's probably Claude Cowork probably does that out the box. If you got the data in files, I mean, even if it's in Excel with probably not millions of records, but if you're just dealing with a few hundred or a few tens of thousands of records, probably Claude Cowork right out of the box, you could talk to all that data and get most of what you want. It's a genius at Excel, Claude.
There's a company called Dashboards with a Z at the end.
Yeah,
it has done similar things either with Realtek or Vibe Coded Tech. I guess that's tech too. And someone, who was it on LinkedIn yesterday? Was it Jack Harris from Tally Ho or someone who said, I'm doing some things, watch tomorrow? Like he was gearing it up.
Was it Christoph?
Was it Christoph?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was Christoph. Yeah. What's his last name? Can you pronounce his last name?
I can't pronounce his first or last name, but no, his last name is Balan or something easy. But Automate Travel is his company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Ollie, before we go, just let everybody know kind of what you're doing right now, like what your goals are, or what your plan is. Like if people want to have some help, especially with what, they should contact you.
Yeah, so I mean, what I'm doing right now is I'm consulting agentic AI, automations, vibe coding, and still social commerce. And if you want to contact me, LinkedIn would be the best way, or my current website, which might actually change after this, which is olivergreen.io. I mean, I've got a lot of operator experience, so yeah, I'm really enjoying getting started.
I just wanted to make sure that we got that message.
Yeah. And I think that's a key point at the end. Is he was an operator for 8 years, right? A founder of a very successful one, versus a lot of the consultants out there. The emails we get every day. Oh, I can help you with this, that, or the other thing. Don't know our business, where Ollie does. So